Welcome to Carrow Road. Been under 23 action here today, hot on the heels of yesterday's first team game, which unfortunately finished in a 2-0 defeat to Cardiff, but better today for Matt Gill's 23s team. They've beaten Wolves 2-1 in Premier League 2. Tristan Abrahams and Marco Stiepermann with the goal, making his comeback after a couple of months out after surgery on a hernia. It's not started for the first team since just before Christmas. So 70 minutes in the tank for Marco today, and he looked very good actually in midfield. Looked head and shoulders in terms of strength and fitness above the young lads, which is what you'd expect really, and I'm sure he was happy with his showing. Matt Gill certainly was, and there was a classy little goal in there as well. It was a tough game though. Norwich flew out of the traps, to be fair. They were very good first half, dominated the game. Wolves made some changes second half and were much better. Got their goal just after the hour mark, and that made it for a more nervous finish actually. But the first goal came in the 19th minute. Lovely ball from Adam Phillips down the right. Simon Power, young Irishman, full of pace. He crossed from the right. Adam Idah fluffed his shot initially, but Tristan Abrahams was there to score his 9th goal of the season. That was from close range, about 6 yards out. Keeper had no chance, was already beaten, sort of put off by Idah's initial attempt. And within about 90 seconds it was 2-0. Abrahams again in the thick of it, powerful, pacey, looked good today, particularly in that first half. His initial cross got deflected as far as Stiepermann, and the German took it in his stride. 27 of course, well over 23, but you're allowed a few over 23s players in these games. Stiepermann took it in his stride, chipped the keeper. The keeper did manage to get a glove on it, although a defender then cleared it away from the line, but the linesman ruled that it had crossed the line, so it was 2-0 to Norwich at that point. And to be frank, they could have gone a few more in front before half time. Abrahams had a couple of shots blocked, Stiepermann also had one blocked, so it was a dominant performance. But as I say, Wolves made a couple of changes at the break, were much better in the second half. They pulled back one in the 63rd minute through one of their substitutes. That was Niall Ennis. That made it a bit more of a nervy second half for Norwich, and they did need a fantastic save from Aston Oxborough as well in the 82nd minute. A free kick from Elliot Watt, the Wolves midfielder. It came after a lad who was on trial with Norwich today, who in general looked good, Adam Lund. He's a defender from Barnsley, 19, but he brought down Wolves' winger Boubacar Hannay on the edge of the box. Wasn't booked for it. Initially I was worried a penalty was going to be given because it was right on the line, but he did get away with it. He wasn't happy with the decision, but then Watt stepped up with the free kick and curled a really good effort towards the top right corner. But Aston Oxborough, new 2-year contract this week of course. He signed until 2020 with the club having the option of a further year. Stuck out his right hand to stop the ball going into the top corner, and then jumped up as well to pull the ball away from his line with a couple of Wolves players closing in, which would have been an equaliser of course. So they hung on in the end, and to be fair to Wolves, they really had some momentum until one of their subs, Will Randall, had to limp off. I think that was about the 67th minute, so they played basically the remaining 25 minutes with 10 men, and that did break their momentum. At that point they were going really well, but Norwich saw out the game well from there. Control possession, good bit of passing, and speaking to Matty Gill at the end there, he's pretty pleased with that. They haven't had a competitive game for almost a month since they went to Southampton and lost, so it's been quite a wait for them, and a good performance today. Entertaining game actually for 23's match. Sometimes they can be a little bit frustrating to watch, but this one was entertaining. I think there was about 750 fans here today, just a bit of a guesstimate really, but I think those who made the effort to be here will be quite pleased. As I say, Adam Lund on trial from Barnsley, young central defender. He looked pretty decent on the whole. The other trialist was from Huddersfield. His name was, I hope I get this right the first time, Sol Milovanovic. He was a midfielder. He was the lad who came on for Stiepermann for the last 20 minutes or so, and he looked like he had a decent pass on him as well. Adam Phillips again in action today, not working out for him at Cambridge. It seems like that loan has pretty much come to an end without it being officially confirmed, as he's not been involved with them for quite a long while. Max Aaron's captain City from right back today. I think he's a lad that they've got big hopes for potentially even next season to get near the first team squad, but he again looked good, as did Devonte Aaron-Sabir actually at left back. He reminds me a little bit of Michi Afite in the way that he's really strong and athletic and quick, and he really does get up the wing as well. He was pretty dangerous from left back. Owen Wallace, good performance at centre back as well actually today. I thought he put in some really good tackles. Adam Phillips, yeah, there's some nice passing from him, maybe a couple of times when he could have worked a little bit harder to get the ball back, but in general controlled things well. And Simon Power, it was the first time I got a proper look at him today. He was a January arrival. He certainly has got pace to burn, so he's one that could be worth watching out for next season as well. So I think we leave it there. I had a chat with Tristan Abrahams after the game as well, and we'll stick that on YouTube for you so you can have a look at that later in the week. Bit of stuff from Matt Gill looking back over the season as a whole, which we'll use later in the week as well, so they're worth having a look at. But we'll leave the report there. It's finished Norwich City under 23s 2, Wolves under 23s 1.